Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe on this Tuesday. In today's episode, more Ronaldo stuff, Matthijs de Ligt, another potential hijack of a Chelsea target, Armando Broja and Hakim Ziyech potentially leaving as well this summer. But before we get into any of that good stuff today, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads on the channel, and hit that like button because it helps new people find it as well. But let's get into it. I spoke about Ronaldo extensively, sort of my thoughts breaking down the rumours of Chelsea considering a move for him this summer. So please go and watch yesterday's news video if you want to see my opinions. But this piece today from Simon Johnson was about whether Chelsea should sign Cristiano Ronaldo and kind of given the pros, the cons, his stats from last season, and of course Chelsea's potential interest after Ronaldo told Man United that he'd like to leave the club this summer. I found this really interesting just in terms of the positive, because I am a little bit negative over this potential transfer that I detailed yesterday, but some of the reasons why Chelsea would want to buy Ronaldo. And as Simon Johnson explains here, despite being in the latter stage of his career, he turns 38 in February, Ronaldo still scored 24 goals in 38 appearances for Man United last season, 18 of those in the Premier League. Only Mo Salah and Son Heung-min scored more in England's top flight. He scored a decent rate last season with 15 non-penalty goals from an XG of 15.8, and what makes that feat even more impressive is that he was playing in one of the worst Man United teams of the modern era. So you've obviously got the side that Ronaldo still scores goals. He quite clearly can at this level, even when he has got criticism and struggles and he's playing in a poor Man United side. But on top of that, there is the business side of this, which is quite obvious, and it isn't related to shirt sales, which I think a lot of people instinctively will go towards. I spoke about this yesterday, and I'll link down below to an article that kind of breaks this sort of myth that shirt sales are really transformative to clubs as maybe they were in the past. Actually, what could be more relevant here is share prices and stocks basically rising once you sign Cristiano Ronaldo, which was the case for both Juventus and for Man United. Shares in Juve doubled when they bought Cristiano Ronaldo in 2018, and the Glazers benefited from post-Ronaldo boost after selling Man United shares. So he is blockbuster business, he really is, in terms of commercially, and that's the most obvious thing. We spoke yesterday, Boehly apparently is going to have a meeting with Thomas Tuchel. I wrote a little bit more about it today for Football London, so link below. Please go and read my article about sort of Thierry Henry. I think he did a lot of good analysis over the season about Ronaldo's sort of struggles at Man United and kind of that conflict between a player scoring a lot of goals for your team, which is a good thing, but kind of the problems when you don't have the ball with that player in the team. So please go and read it, and as I say, go and read the Simon Johnson article as well, because I think it was a good piece, sort of balanced piece on this massive story. But let's move over to Matthijs de Ligt, another massive target for Chelsea this summer. That Chelsea are actually in talks to sign from Juventus, the 22-year-old defender. But a bit like the Rafinha story, lightning could strike twice here, because Bayern Munich apparently want to come in and hijack the deal. This is from Lazar Kinsella. Chelsea target Matthijs de Ligt or Nathan Ake deal this week, but face Bayern Munich transfer fight. Chelsea have had numerous approaches for de Ligt turned down by Juve, who initially asked for his 103 million release clause to be paid in full. The Serie A club have since softened their stance but rejected potential swap deals involving both Timo Werner and Jorginho. Juventus want a fee paid in full but are willing to negotiate on the price, with de Ligt seemingly unwilling to renew his contract that expires in 2024. Just thinking about who he is actually replacing in the Chelsea squad, and I think a lot of people look at him and think Rudiger, you know, this kind of big imposing character that could kind of be a dominant force in Chelsea's defence for a number of years. I actually think de Ligt is not a replacement for Rudiger. He's a replacement for Thiago Silva eventually, kind of in the centre of defence. You think about the type of player Thiago Silva is. At most, we're getting 1 to 2 more seasons. I know we said this last year, and Thiago proved us all wrong last season with his extraordinary performances, one of Chelsea's player of the season. But you need a succession plan beyond Thiago Silva eventually. It's going to happen, and we don't know when that time is going to be. You know, you look at de Ligt for his national side, he plays quite centrally for them. You think about the style of player he is, and also the potential for Thomas Tuchel next season to change formation to go to a back four, only having 2 centre-backs rather than 3. And again, I just kind of look at de Ligt stylistically, profile-wise. I think there are things obviously physically imposing, you know, as quite a big centre-back. You'd naturally link him to Rudiger. And yeah, sure, technically he would be taking one of those Christensen or Rudiger spots, but it put to me today, maybe he's more like Christensen as kind of that replacement in kind of the central defensive position, especially if Tuchel sticks to a back three. So let me know your opinions on De Ligt and fear of Bayern hijacking the deal, and could it be done this week? Ake as well seems further along the line, and it seems like one that Chelsea are confident they can get done. You've heard my opinions about Ake before. I'm not that enthused by it. I think he could be a competent defender for Chelsea next season. Let me know your opinions on both defenders in the comments below. And this from Nazar Casella as well about a potential Chelsea exit. Armando Broja, Todd Boehly is planning to have a meeting with the striker this weekend as Everton and West Ham make moves for the striker. I think out of all the potential loanees who could leave after thinking about the exodus last summer and not wanting to see a repeat of that, Broja has always felt the most obvious. There were talks about him potentially leaving permanently in January, and their potential that Chelsea, maybe the previous regime, were open to that. You look at how he thrived at Southampton, all right, maybe he tailed off at the back end of the season, but considering the expectation a lot of people had of him at Southampton, I think he really exceeded it and impressed a lot of people. And that trend that we saw last season of these youngsters going permanently somewhere and getting a place in the first team instantly. You think about David Moyes apparently wanting Armando Broja, trying to evolve his attack and potentially going in there as quite a direct physical team, how that could help Broja's game and very much play to Broja's game a lot more. West Ham have definitely evolved over recent years, but they do like to play on the counter, do like to play in transition, and that could maybe suit Broja a lot more to Chelsea, where he'd be playing maybe without the ball a lot more, in terms of Chelsea being a lot more possession heavy and having to be asked more questions sort of from defences than he would maybe at West Ham. But I like Broja, I really do, for quite obvious reasons. The comparison was made consistently last year of some of his mannerisms and the way he goes about his business, similarities to a certain Diego Costa, which is always going to put you in my good books personally, and I do think that Broja potentially has got a great future ahead of him. He already is a regular for his nation. He's scoring goals at international and also club level. Scoring goals in the Premier League is very hard, and the fact that at his age and for his first senior loan in the Premier League, not championship level as well, going straight to the Premier League from Vitesse and scoring goals and scoring big goals as well for Southampton last year and becoming kind of a more integral player than maybe a lot of us thought. I'm interested to see how he develops as a player, but would it be a permanent move? And that's my feeling is around a 30 million deal I think might happen this summer. Is it the trade-off that you sell Armando Broja, maybe with the idea that a buyback gets put in there, but we keep Levi Colwill? I think maybe some people would deal with that, considering Chelsea's need for defenders. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Broja. Is this a player you would actually want to keep and think would be a good sort of rotational option with Kai Havertz in the centre-forward role this season? Let me know in the comments below. And finally, I do want to speak a little bit about Hakim Ziyech. We spoke about Ziash potentially going to AC Milan. We've spoken a lot about Ziash potentially going to AC Milan since last year. It was kind of rumours coming out of Italy, but now it's been confirmed, or it has been reported more seriously from the Athletic. James Horncastle, AC Milan are working on a loan deal. I think with Ziash, it is a little bit sad to see him go. It's not a surprise, I have to say, out of the attackers who could have been on the move this summer. I think you can look at Werner, you can look at Pulisic, you look at Ziash. Those three have kind of been thrown together as a trio since like winter of three players that could be on the move. And Ziash, there has been a feeling for quite a while now that he doesn't suit what Tuchel wants to do. That doesn't mean that he's never looked good under Thomas Tuchel, or that personally he has always played at his best and sort of the system has kept him down. Because he has had bad performances. He has had injury problems at Chelsea at really bad times, like a few other attackers have. And it's frustrating because I think under Frank, he was going to get the role I think that he probably needs as a player at this point in his career. Then, of course, it all goes wrong under Frank. He gets sacked. A new coach comes in who maybe doesn't see Ziash as this kind of free playmaker on the right side that he's going to give sort of more responsibility to. And there are several attackers at Chelsea who maybe want a little bit more responsibility than maybe Tuchel in the current system is actually going to give them. And particularly at this stage of his career, the difference between Ziash and Werner and Callum Hudson-Odoi and Christian Pulisic is the age difference. I mean, he is slap bang prime of his career. He wants to be playing football. I don't think he wants another season of sitting on the bench, and he's maybe looking at Raheem Sterling coming in, the potential of another attacker coming in, Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi. Timo Werner still sticking around, Mason Mount, the sort of players he's been competing with for a while now, and the writing's been on the wall, and you feel like Serie A is maybe a good step for him personally. AC Milan have quite clearly been interested in the player for quite a while, and he'll maybe will get the role he's wanted in kind of a slower league where maybe he can kind of thread those passes and show that trickery that we all know he has, but we've seen in flashes, but never consistently enough, or never to a point where he was going to become a dominant player. It always felt like there was a ceiling to Hakim Ziyech once Tuchel came in, and that's not having a go at Tuchel. I think that quite clearly there maybe have been a disagreement over the player and the system and what the coach wanted from that player and what he sees in attacking players, and that's a big conversation we've had already on this channel about Tuchel and how he's going to try and fix this attack this season. But I think for Ziash is probably the best move for his career, and it does look like he's going to be alone potentially with an option to buy next season, so this potentially would be the farewell for Hakim Ziyech. Listen, he was always as well a lower fee, so Chelsea letting him go, it wasn't always going to be such a devastating move or an embarrassing move, or in a sense that it could never happen because the finances were so impossible to do. I think that was always going to maybe aid the fact that Chelsea could see Ziash as one of the attackers to move on. So let me know your opinions on Ziash in the comments below. But that is it for today's news video. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch it. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads on the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. All the best.